Okay. Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Sharada Sharadambuja Vadana Vadanambuje Sarvata Sarvadasmakam Sannidhi Sannidhim Kriyat Sada Shiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Mande Guru Param. Om Bharati Karunapatram Bharati Padabhushanam Bharati Padamarudam Bharati Tirtamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Dham Vivehinam Vande Vedanta Tattvajnam Vidushekara Bharatim. Om Sadguru Charnaravindabhyam Namaha. Om. We'll get started.
Namaskaram to all, and all advance happy Thanksgiving holidays for everybody. We'll continue with our Manusmriti slokas. Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishtam Shashivarnam Sadarbhujam Prasannavadhanam Dhyayet Sarvighnopashante Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Mami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. So last month we finished with the last sloka of the first chapter. Remember we talked about Manusmriti has 12 chapters. And the first chapter, almost 60-70 slokas describe the creation of the universe and also the creation of all the living beings in the earth as well as in the heavens. And after the creation part is discussed, Manu, actually the Manusmriti was given by Manu to sage Bhrigu, and Bhrigu Maharishi is the one who is actually expounding the contents, but he refers that these were the contents given by Manu, and then it says that how the four classes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras came out, and how the Brahmanas are considered to be the main protector of dharmas. And the last sloka of the 119th sloka of the first chapter, we finished last time. Edet Uktavan Shastram Pura Proshto Manurmaya Tadetam Yuyam Abhyadya Mat Sakashanti Bodhata. So Bhrigu Maharishi is telling, now I'm actually going to tell you the exact details of the Shastras, which as it is given to be by Manu. So with that, we'll start on the second chapter of the Manusmriti. And this is another big chapter where again, actually the Varnashrama Kandas, everything is going to be discussed in detail. And I will chant the slokas first, and then we will go through the meanings of all of them. So the first sloka today is Vidvadbihi sevitaha sadbir nityam advesharagibihi hridayana abhi anugnato yo dharma tan nibodata. Vidvadbihi sevitaha sadbir nityam advesharagibihi hridayena abhi anugnato yo dharmas tan nibodata. So what this says is, the people who have the rishis who have known the Vedas in full, they are vidvat. Vidvat means vidwans, or they are the knowledgeable people who have known the entire Vedas. Nityam advesha ragibihi. Advesha ragibihi. Raga dvesha means passion and hatred. You are either attached to too many things or you have hate for things. Dvesha ragam. Advesha means they don't have any passion or they don't have any hatred. They are neutral and balanced. So these people, these rishis who know the entire Vedas and who also know the rules of dharma and who have no hatred or passion for them, they whatever rules they follow, that's what Manu has said, and what Manu has said, I am going to say. That's how the second chapter, first sloka is started by Bhrigu Maharishi. So basically, it means the summary is these are people who know the entire Vedas, and based on the Vedas, they follow the dharmas, and they also have no individual hatred or passion. So he's trying to give us he's building up that whatever they say is reliable. That's kind of the bottom line. They are telling all the rishis, what he's trying to build up in the first sloka is by explaining that it is based on the Vedas. These people follow dharma. These people have no hatred and passion. So they don't have any likes and dislikes. So he's trying to tell these are very balanced people who are giving this information. So whatever they say should be taken as reliable. So that is sloka number 1. कामात्मता न प्रशस्ता न चैव हे अस्ति अकामतां काम्यो हि वेदाधिगमः कर्मयोग्यश्च वैदिकः कामात्मता न प्रशस्ता न चैव अस्ति अकामता काम्यो हि वेदाधिगमः कर्मयोगश्च वैदिकः. So here the Manusmriti is giving us a very practical point. It says that everybody wants to fulfill the desires. Everybody has some desires and everybody wants to fulfill the desires. But doing whatever we like to fulfill the desires is not right. Kamatmata na prashasta. So it says, so everybody wants to have, everybody has some desires and everybody wants to fulfill their desires. But to fulfill the desires, don't think you can do anything you want. That is what it's starting and telling. And Vedadigamah karma yogascha vaidikah. By following the Vedic rules, you can fulfill all your desires in the correct way. That's what it's telling. So it says, everybody has desires, but don't do as you like to fulfill your desires. The Vedas have given us a way by which you can fulfill your desires the righteous way. So it says, and then now we go to the next sloka. Sankalpa Mula Kamo Vaiyagnya Sankalpa Sambhavaha Pradhani Yamadharmascha Sarve Sankalpajaha Smrutaha. Sankalpa Mula Kamo Vaiyagnya Sankalpa Sambhavaha Pradhani Yamadharmascha Sarve Sankalpaja Smrutaha. So it says two terms, Sankalpa and Kama. Basically, it says to fulfill your desires, or other way around, you want to do something and you are doing something because you have a desire for something. So the desire is the root cause, and because of the desire you end up doing something. And so it says for Sankalpa Mula Kamo. Sankalpa is the will power to do things. For Sankalpa, the Mula is Kama. Kama is desire. So the desire is the one which causes Sankalpa for everybody. And based on the Sankalpa, only people do Yajna, people do Vratas. Yamadharmascha means, Yamadharma means all the controls, all the sense controls. Here Yama doesn't mean Yamadharma Raja. We talk about Niyama and Yama in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. All these regulations people follow. So what he's telling is, when you can still accomplish your desires following the Vedas, but when you are following the Vedas, all these are going to come in, which is Yajnas, Vratas, Yamadharma, everything is going to come in. So desire will cause Sankalpa, and the Sankalpa should be directed towards performing all these, and that will fulfill the desires. So that is what he's telling. So he's telling first is, everybody has desires, but don't do as you like. And to fulfill the desires, there is a righteous way, and that's what we're going to talk about. So he's going in a very practical approach. Right now, Manusmriti is not even telling to do, the relinquish, become a sannyasa. They know that all common people have common desires, so you go through the normal path. So that is how these are all started here. Akamasya kriya, next sloka number 4. Akamasya kriya kaschit drishyate neha karhichit yat di kurute kinchit tat kamasya cheshtitam. Akamasya kriya kachit drishyate neha karhichit yat di kurute kinchit tat kamasya cheshtitam. It says, for akamasya kriya kaschit, for somebody who has no desires, there is no action also. So that is what the sannyasa nakkarbana na prajaya comes at the stage. So for people who have no desires, you don't need to do no activity. So that is, people who have reached the highest stage of desirelessness or the highest stage of vairagya, they don't need to do any actions. That also he says. But for other people, most of the people, desire is the cause of most of their actions. So here it is discriminating. People who have no desires, they don't need to follow all these actions. But people have desires, they have to, fulfill this by following these rules. Next sloka. Teshu samyak vardamano gacchati amara lokatam yata sankalpitam sheha sarvan kaman samashnute. Teshu samyak vardamano gacchati amara lokatam. Yata sankalpitam sheha sarvan kaman samashnute. Samyak means done the right way. Samyak darshana also means one who has a clear vision. So all the activities which are done the correct way or the appropriate way, gachati amara lokatam. It says these people can even go to devaloka. Amara lokatam is the term used for like swarga. Here it. So people who who do the things the correct way, the the appropriate, following the appropriate protocols, they can reach even devaloka. Not only devaloka, sarvan kaman samashtute. Even in the earth, all their desires will get fulfilled. So Manu is enticing people. Follow the Vedas. When you follow the Vedas, you can accomplish all your earthly desires, and also after that you can go to Amaraloka also. So these are again, Manu is giving, is like throwing bits. Okay, guys, if you do this, you can fulfill your desires here, and then you can also go to the higher Devalokas at the end of your life. So now, having given all these, he's already given ideas that Sankalpa, Sankalpa Mula Kamo, everybody has desires, and based on desires only you have Sankalpa, everything. Now he's going to tell where, okay, I've given you where do we get these rules for doing, because he already said don't do as you like. So what are the rules? Where do we get these rules from? Sloka number 6. This particular sloka which I said has been told by all acharyas for thousands of years. So this is the most important sloka in Manusmriti. Vedo akilo dharma moolam smrutishile cha tatvidam asharashchaiva sadhunam atmanas tushtirevacha. This sloka is very important. Ramanujacharya and his entire followers, Adi Shankara, entire followers, all the followers up to this time, they will quote this sloka. Vedo akilo dharma moolam smriti shile cha tatvidam acharashchaiva sadhunam atmanas tushtirevacha. So it says, he gives 4 important sources of dharma. So where do you get the dharma sources? He says Vedo Akilo Dharma Mulam. Veda is the ultimate authority for dharma, no question about it. So that is the important source. Smruti Shilech Tatvidam. Smruti means the rules and regulations which are created by the rishis based on the Vedas. So for this only, there is a very nice sloka, Kalidasa gives in his Raghuvamsam, and Mahapariva quoted that in his sloka. It goes to the episode of Dilipa. Dilipa has no kids, and Dilipa and his wife, they are really want children, and they go to Vasishta, and Vasishta says, take care of this cow. He says Nandini is the name of the cow. Vasishta says, you do, basically tells the king, become a cowherd, take care of this cow for a few months or so. By the blessing of this cow, you will get everything. That's what Vasishta says. So it says that, every day in the evening, after Dilipa finishes all his kingly activities, he will take the cow himself to the forest to make sure the cow grazes whatever it wants, and then he will bring it back in the night and tie it in the stable. It's a story which goes, and now, the Dilipa story, and that's how Raghu is born. The great king Raghu is born. But so Dilipa is, so it says every day in the evening when Dilipa takes the cow, Dilipa will be following the cow, and his wife will be following Dilipa exactly in the same path that the cow walks. So this is the example. Kalidasa himself says, Kalidasa Upamanasya Kalidasa. Kalidasa is famous for giving examples, and Kalidasa says exactly how the cow, Dilipa, and his wife are walking in the same line. Cow is represented as a source of dharma. So it says Vedas and the Smritis which the rishis have created, they follow exactly the path like this. They follow only the path of the Vedas. So whatever Smritis, the Yagyavakya Maharishi, all the Yagyavakya Smriti, Shankaliki, the Smriti, there's a lot of Smritis. He says the Smritis follow the Vedas, and the example he gives is how exactly this cow, everybody walk in the same line. They don't even disturb the path. That's exactly whatever the Smriti says. It exactly follows only what the Vedas have said, but it is made easy for us to follow because all of us cannot read the entire Vedas. So that is what it is given here. Veto Akilo Dharma Moolam, Smruti Shilech Tatvidam. The Smrutis created by the rishis based on the Vedas are also another authority. So Veda is the highest authority, Smriti is the second highest authority. Acharashchaiva sadhunam. If you cannot follow the Vedas and the Dharma Shastras, follow the sadhus achara. For example, Sringeri Acharya, you don't know any Dharma Shastra, you don't know any Veda Shastra, you just follow the routine what he follows from morning to evening, that is enough. So take the example of a very good Acharya, like Acharya or who you consider a big saint. Just follow from day to day, just copy them, whatever you can possible. Use them as a role model and follow exactly. So, Acharashchaiva sadhunam Atmanas tushti revacha. This is the most sloka which people interpret differently. Atmanas tushti revacha is, and then whatever gives you satisfaction, it says. So it says follow the Vedas, the Smritis, follow the Acharya who is the role model, and then says Atmanas tushti revacha. And here you have to go to the commentary. A lot of people have written commentary on the Manusmriti, and Medaditi is one of the rishi, which is the famous commentary on Manusmriti. And Medaditi's commentary, and there is a lot of other people have also, even some Sringeri Acharyas have written commentary on Manusmritis. And here it says Atmanas Tushti Revacha is not your satisfaction. It says the satisfaction which is expressed by the saints by following it. So again, it says there is two interpretations they call Parishad, which himself, Manu itself will come. A group of, like even in our medical case, if there is a complicated medical case, they want 4 or 5 doctors sit in the panel and decide, what is the correct approach to management. Or if somebody did a management, they want 4 or 5 people to examine and say whether the management did was correct or wrong. Like we call like a board or a committee, they call Parishad. So whatever the group of these learned Brahmanas, because even that comes in Sikshavali, there is a sloka. One of the ending sloka Sikshavali says to Sishya, if you don't know anything, go to the learned assembly of Brahmanas, the well-learned people, and ask them the guidelines and come. So here the Atmanas Tushti Revacha is the activities which give satisfaction to the saints, or the activities which are considered to give satisfaction by a group of the Parishad members. So here we don't have to take the Atmanas Tushti Revacha means that if you literally interpret it means whatever gives you personal satisfaction. But then somebody can tell, I want to drink wine every day, that gives me personal satisfaction, So everybody can have their own personal satisfaction by different things. So this Atmanas Tushti Revacha is interpreted as satisfaction which saints achieve by certain activities, or whatever the Parishad considers satisfactory. That is what it says. Just 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to the next sloka. So that is the most important one. Next sloka is Yak Kaschid Kaschachid Dharmo Manu Parikirtita Sa Sarvo Abhihito Veda Sarvajnano Mayo Hisahab. Yak Kaschachid Dharmo Manuna Parikirtitaham Sa Sarvo Abhihito Vede Sarvajnano Mayo Hisahab. And again, it is reiterated that because Bhrigu is telling this on behalf of Manu, he is telling Sarvajnano Mayo. He says Manu knows everything. Sarvajnana Mayo means Sarvajnam. He says Manu is Sarvajnam. He knows the entire Vedas. Manu has mentally looked at the entire Vedas, and based on that only Manu has given this. So he's again reiterating the fact, because we talked about the last sloka. What is a good Smriti is, a Smriti should tail the Vedas. And we gave the example of Dilipa and the cow, and how they didn't even they followed a line exactly without even moving their path. So same way, the good Smriti should always tail what the Veda says. And so he's repeating the point. Even what Manu is telling is, Manu knew the entire Vedas, and after analyzing the entire Vedas, Manu has given this Smriti. So it is again telling that Manu Smriti is entirely based on the Vedas. Sarvam tu samavekshetam nikilam jnana chakshusha shruti pramanyotyo vidwan swadarme nivishetavai sarvam tu samavekshetam nikilam jnana chakshusha shruti pramanyato vidwan swadarme nivishetavai. Again he says jnana chakshusha means the inner eye, not the external eye. Jnana chakshusha, again this entire smriti is given based on the inner eye of Manu, and people should follow this and follow their swadharma and be contented with that. So it says this Manusmriti is given based on Manu's inner eye knowledge of the entire Vedas, and swadharme nivishetavai, this shruti pramanyato vidwan, all the vidwans should accept this shruti pramanya, which is based on the shruti. Shruti pramanya means based on this, all the vidwan should accept this, which is based on the smritis, follow their dharmas accordingly. So it is telling it is based on the Vedas. All the intelligent people please utilize it and follow your dharma based on this. Shruti smrti yuditam dharmam anushtitam hi manavaham इह कीर्तिमवाप्नोति प्रेते च अनुत्तमं सुखम. श्रुति स्मृति उदितं धर्मम अनुष्ठितन ही मानवः इह कीर्तिमवाप्नोति प्रेते च अनुत्तमं सुखम. So humans, again it is reiterating the same point. Shruti smriti uditam dharmam, whatever dharma is based on shruti and smriti, the Vedas or the Dharma Shastras, the humans, manava, all the humans should follow it. If they follow it, iha kirti mavapnoti, they will have, kirti means fame, they will get fame in this world, and after that anuttamam sukham, they will get a very high blessing or higher worlds after this. So whatever point was said before, and that is the most important thing, because Dharma Shastras look not only what we achieve in earth, it believes there is a life after our earthly life, so it also gives points for that. So because most of the scientific things what we do is based on whatever will give us comfort or pleasure only on earth, whereas the Dharma Shastras believe there is other things beyond the earth, and your life goes in cycles beyond the earth. So they are preparing you for better life even after the earthly life. So it says here, when you follow the Shruti Smriti Dharmas, you will get great fame here, and you will also attain moksha after the or moksha or higher worlds after the earthly life. Next point. Shrutist Vedo Vigneyo Dharma Shastram tu Vaismrutihi te sarvarthashva mimamse tabhyam dharmohi nirbhavav. Shrutist Vedo Vigneyo Dharma Shastram tu Vaismrutihi sa sarvartheshva mimamse tabhyam dharmo hi nirbhavav. And he is now giving a disclaimer also. Whatever is said in the Vedas and Dharma Shastras, don't question them too much. Either don't do tarkas. Sarvartesha mimamse. Mimamsa means analyzing. The Mimamsa itself, the Mimamsa Shastra itself is in investigation. Analyzing. The Mimamsa itself means investigating, because the Uttara Mimamsa means investigating into Brahman. Pura Mimamsa means investigating into karmas. So the term Mimamsa means investigating or analyzing. Don't try to analyze too much the Dharma Shastra. There are things which you have to analyze, because, for example, the Dharma Shastra will say, I will give you one example. Take coconut water. If you drink coconut water in a bronze vessel, it will come later in Manusmriti. It is considered equal drinking to alcohol. If you drink the same coconut water in a regular gold cup or silver cup, it is okay. But the same coconut water, if you put in a bronze vessel and you drink it, they say it is like drinking alcohol. This you cannot question. I mean, what scientifically, what is the problem? No chemical reaction happens. Whatever, we're not releasing any dangerous chemicals because coconut water is poured into bronze vessel. But the rishis have seen something they call Baudatikam, which means beyond physics. They see something beyond physics and chemistry which you cannot see, and that is why they are telling don't use it. So if you cannot argue it, well, why if I can drink in golden cup, why can't I drink in bronze cup? I can drink water in bronze cup. We do Sandhya Vandanam, and sometimes even in bronze Sandhya Vandanam. A lot of people are Venkala Sandhya Vandana Patra, silver. Why can't I drink water in bronze, but I can't drink coconut water in bronze? That's what the rishis say. They found something which is considered a problem there. So that is why I'm giving one example. You can keep on arguing for every point they say. Why should I keep darba this way? Why cannot I keep the darba that way? They will tell keep darba for pitru like this, for this, for devas keep it like this. So again the point will come, you can argue for everything, and that's why he's putting a disclaimer in the beginning. Te sarvarteshu mimamse tabhyam dharmohi nirbabhav. Don't waste your time arguing some of the points given here. And that's what he's telling. Okay, next is yo avamanyete te mule hetu shastrashayadvijaham sa sadhubir bahishkaryo nastiko veda nindakaha. You will get the meaning yourself here. Yo avamanyete mule hetu shastrashrayadvijaha. Shastra ashrayadvijaha sa sadhubir bahishkaryo nastiko veda nindakaha. So its last line says the nastikas who are veda nindakas, which means who are condemning the Vedas and whatever the Vedas say, sadbir bahishkaryo, all the sadhus to ignore them or place them out of the society. Now it is other way around. You follow the Vedas, you will be out of the society. That is the problem now. So, like you see, so even per year 6 or 7 will come for this. 1,000 people will go for Taylor Swift concert. So, so that is the point. What it says is, it says the other way around. If somebody is doing avamanyam, avamanam, we talk, avamanyam means insulting. If somebody are insulting the Vedas or Dharma Shastras, Shastra Ashraya Dvijaha, those Dvijas means the twice born, which includes Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, all the twice born who are Shastra Ashraya, they are all adherent to Shastra. Shastra Ashraya Manirkargal. Those Dvijas who are adhering to the Shastras, they should not tolerate the people who do nindas of the Vedas. So it says avamanyete nastiko veda nindakaha baishkaryo. So you can take the term. It says those people who are adherent to the Shastras, they should ignore or isolate the people who are doing Veda Nindakam. They should not interact with them. So that is what it's saying in this sloka. Veda Smriti Sadachara Swasya cha Priyamatmanah Eda Chadurvidam Prahu Saksha Dharmasya Lakshanam. Vedaha Smriti Sadachara Swasya cha Priyamatmanah Eda Chadurvidam Prahu Saksha Dharmasya Lakshanam. This is again reiterating the same 4 point. Veda, Smriti, Sadachara, Swasya Priyamatmanah. So all those things, all these Chaturvidam are role or things to be followed for Dharma. Here it means following the Vedas, following Dharma Shastras, following the Acharas of the great rishis or their gurus. And finally, the Priyamatmana means what gives satisfaction. Again, don't take satisfaction of yourself. What is considered satisfactory by the Parishad or considered satisfactory by the Gurus. So some things will not be listed in Dharma Shastra. And you might have a question whether we can do it or not. You can ask the Guru and he says, yes, you can do it. This is satisfactory for me. Then you can do it, because not everything might be listed. So there you go based on reliance on the what the Achara says. So again, the same 4 points it says. Vedas, Smritis, Sadachara of the great Acharyas, and Atmanas Tushtirevacha, whatever gives satisfaction. These are all considered Dharma Lakshanam. Artha Kameshu Asaktanam Karmajnanam Vidiyate Dharmam Vigyasamananam Pramanam Paramam Shrutihi. Artha Kameshu Asaktanam Karmajnanam Vidiyate Dharma Vigyasamananam Pramanam Paramam Shrutihi. It says Artha Kameshu Asaktanam Karma Jnanam Vidiyate means, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Those are the 4 Chaturvida. We say the Purusharthas. Dharma is righteousness, Artha is earning wealth, Kama is desire, and Moksha is getting liberation. Artha Kameshu Asaktanam. People who have little bit detached from earning too much money and pleasures, for them only this Dharma Shastra will apply itself. So if somebody is always spending their time in earning money and gaining pleasures, they are not going to be focusing on doing Dharma Shastra. So it is already telling you, only for people as Artha Kamesha Asaktanam, people who are not too much into earning money and too much into enjoying sensory pleasures, this karma jnanam applies. And again, this is based on pramanam paramam shrutihi. Again, it reiterates this is based only on the shrutis. Now it comes, now you will have the real points coming from now. These are all the initial kind of the build up given for the Manusmriti. Shruti dvaitam tu yatra syat tatra dharma ubau smrutau ubavapi hitau dharmau samyak ukto manishibhihi. Padmanabhanji, I'll go till 4:45. We started like 5-10 minutes late, and then you can go after that, So that way we'll cover some points here. Shruti dvaitam tu yatra syat tatra dharma ubau smrutau ubavapi hitau dharmau samyak ukto manishibhihi. It is also telling in the Vedas, Shruti dvaitam. Dvaitam means two. In the Shrutis, sometimes two rules are given for the same issue. Sometimes, and it will give you examples too. Like it will tell you, you can do this before sunrise, do this after sunrise. It will say the same Agnihotra. So you get confused. It says both before sunrise, after sunrise, which should I follow? It says if Shruti has given you the same guidelines for two, both of them are applicable. Follow which is convenient to you. So it is already telling you there will be some areas of these gray zones where the Shruti itself will give you two different guidelines for one particular problem. And in that case, you are okay to follow both of them. Samyak ukto manishibhihi. Whichever you feel convenient, as long as those two rules are within the Vedas, you can follow that. And it gives the same example which I just told you. Udite anudite chaiva samyat yushite tata sarvata vartate yajna itiyam vaidiki shrudihi. Udite anudite chaiva samayat yushite tata sarvata vartate yajna itiyam vaidiki shrudihi. Udite anudite means, udita means the sun has risen. Anudita means the sun has not risen, it is still dark. And it says some of the yajnas are given like that: do before sunrise, do after sunrise. Both of these rules will be found in the same Veda. In that case, you can do, even though those two apply as contradictory to each other, both of them are equally good, and it is given that way so that people have options to do it. So the Vedas also know that people cannot follow all rules exactly like it. So sometimes when you see these dual problems, don't take it as contradictory, take them as mutually applicable, whichever you can follow. It's giving that. Then it says nishekadi smashananto mantrer yasyo udito vidihi tasya shastre adhikaro asmin nyeyo na anyasya kasyachit. Nishekadi smashananto mantrer yasya udito vidihi tasya shastre adhikaro asmin nyeyo na anyasya kasyachit. Nishekadi smashananto, it gives you two. Nishekadi means the garbhadanam. Even in our Hindu culture, for the first night, they call the first night, it is based only on shastras. And that is when the first the coitus happens, and then the garbhadanam happens. So that is also even done only by mantra purva. You do a big slow mantras, Veda mantras before the Shantri Muhurtam, and then the couple go after that. So, and the smashana means the ceremony which happens, the final death ceremony which happens in the crematory ground. Smashanam is crematory ground, So we have rules from Garbhadanam all the way up to the death cremation, and all of these have mantras. Mantrair yasyo udito vidhi. There are rules for all of these, beginning from birth, now giving birth to death, and all these are based on mantras and rules. And this is applicable only for people who can do mantras. So there are in the society some people who are not considered eligible for mantras, and at least in the old Varnashrama Dharma, for them these rules don't apply. But for people who have to follow mantras, these rules apply. So now the next few slokans goes very quickly through very interesting geography, and I will finish after that, because this geography probably you cannot identify with the current geography what we have. But there are some relevances. Saraswati Drushadvatiyor Devanadyor Yadantaram Tam Devanirmitam Desham Brahma Vartam Prachakshate. Saraswati Drushaswati your Deva Nadyor Yadantaram. So Deva Nirmitam Desham Brahma Vartam Prashastate. If you have to look at you go to Google after the lecture and there is a Manusmriti based map. It will tell you there is Brahma Vartam, there is one place. Then there is other place called Brahma Rishi Desham. Then there is another place called Madhya Desham, and then the last is called Aryavratam. So there is Brahmavartam, Brahma Rishi Desham, Madhya Desham, and Aryavratam, and it will tell you the boundaries. So it is telling the first boundary. Saraswati is one river, Drishatvati is another river. The area between these two rivers, it is Deva Nirmitam. It is been constructed by Devas themselves. It is called Brahmavartam. That area is called Brahmavartam. तस्मिन् देशाय आचार पारंपर्य क्रमागतः वर्णानां शांत्रलानानां सदाचार उच्यते. It says तस्मिन् देशय आचारः पारंपर्य क्रमागतः वर्णानां शांत्रलानानां सदाचार उच्यते. It says the acharas followed in this Brahmavartam are the sadacharas. It comes paramparya kramagataha. People have been following in this Brahmavartam these rules and regulations for generations after generations. Whatever they are following there is sadacharam. That itself is sadacharam is whatever the rules are followed in Brahmavartam. Kurukshetram Matsyascha, Panchalascha Surasenakaha. These all will come in Mahabharata. All these cities will come very, very, if you read the Mahabharata map, all these will come very, very close to each other. Kurukshetram Matsyascha, Panchalascha Surasenakaha, Esha Brahmarishi Desho Vai, Brahmavartat Brahmavartat Anantaraha. So Kurukshetram, Matsya Desham. Remember, Matsya Desham is where the Pandavas even do the Ragyandavasa. Panchala is where Panchali comes from, Draupadi's place. Surasenakaha, there are kings in Surasenaka who fight in the Pandava, in the Mahabharata war. All these states together are called Brahma Rishi Desha, Brahmavartan, Anantara. This is next to the Brahmavartam. Whatever the states I call Brahmavartam, Anantara means it's next to these all groups. So this is called Brahma Rishi Desham. Edad Desha Prasutasya Sakashad Agrajanmanah Swamsam Charitram Sikshesharan Pritivyam Sarvamanavaha. So here it says Etad Desha Prasutasya Sakashad Agrajanmanah Swamsam Charitram Sikshesharan Pritivyam Sarvamanavaha. Agrajanmana means the firstborn. Here it refers against to Brahmins. So the first, it says in Brahmavartam, whatever rules they follow, you can follow exactly like that. Here it says in the second Desha, Brahma Rishi Desham, Agrajanmanaha, whatever the Brahmanas there, they are teaching you, you can become their disciples and you can follow that. So if first it says follow the rules exactly what they follow here. Here it says in the Brahma Rishi Desham, the Agrajanmanaha, Swamsam, whatever they advise, that is also considered acceptable. So these are all is giving gradations. Himavat Vindayor Madhyam Yad Prag Vinashadapi Pratyagyeva Prayagascha Madhya Desha Prakirtitaha. Himavat Vindayor Madhyam Yad Prag Vinashadapi Pratyagyeva Prayagascha Madhya Desha Prakirtitaha. Himalayas, Vindhya Mountains, the place where the Saraswati disappears is called Saraswati River is supposed to be flowing on top of the earth at one point, and after one point it goes under the earth. It disappears under the earth. The place where Saraswati disappears under is called Vinashad place. And Prayagascha. So Prayag, Saraswati disappearing, Himalayas and Vindhya. The four boundaries, the states which come under that is called Madhya Desham. Samudrat Vai Purvada Samudrascha Paschimat Tayoreva Antaram Giriyor Aryavartam Vidurbudaha. Samudratu Vai Purvada Samudratu Paschimat Tayoreva Antaram Giriyor Aryavartam Vidurbudaha. So this again tells the east and the west oceans, the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea, between these two oceans and between the two mountains. And again, the mountains are not specified here. We have to assume anything below the Vindhya mountains now, So the place which is bound by the seas on both sides and which is between the two mountains, which is called Aryavartam. So we have Brahmavartam, Brahma Rishi Desham, Madhya Desham, and Aryavartam. Krishna Sarastu Charadi Mrugo Yatra Subhavatah Sagneyo Yagnayo Desho Mlecha Deshas Twatap Paraha. Again, a very interesting point. Krishna Sarastu Charadi Mrugo Yatra Swabhavatah Sagneyo Yagnayo Desho Mlecha Deshas Twatap Paraha. So this is again a question. Krishna Sara. You know what the Krishna Sara means? Black antelope, the deer. It says the black and whites, that it should be black with white spots. The area where the black and white spotted antelope is freely roaming, that is the best place to do yajna on the earth, it seems. That is Manu's declaration. Krishna Sarastu Charadi Mrugo Yatra Swabhavatah, it is freely roaming. That place, Sagneyo Yajnayo Desho. Take that to be the best place to do yajna. Mlecha Dveshas Tata Parahada. Everything else is considered Mlecha Desham, which is not very suitable, you know. So the Krishna Sara and the Mahaperiva, everybody quotes this. So this, so again, you cannot question this. Why can't it be a yellow, a brown colored antelope? According to Manu, who has seen everything, according to the God's creation, and that will be very, very interesting. If you read Swami Vedanta Desikan's Maivarda Manimyam, where he talks about the Varadaraja Kshetra Mahatmyam, he will give all these Dharma Shastra rules, and he will say why Kanchipuram is great. He will quote all the Shastras and say why Kanchipuram is considered the greatest place, and doing Ashwamedha Yajna, one Ashwamedha Yajna, and Kanchipuram is called 1000 Ashwamedha Yajnas. Deshik will quote all these Smritis and tell based on these rules. That is why I'm telling Kanchipuram is the greatest, he will tell that. So this is an example. So remember the Krishna Sara. Etan Dvijadayo Deshan Samshreyan Prayatnataha Shudrastu Yasmin Kasmin Va Nivesat Vritti Karshita. Etan Dvijadayo Deshan Samshreyan Prayatnataha Shudrastu Yasmin Kasmin Va Nivesat Vritti Karshita. It says the Dvijad, which again the twice born, which is the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, Prayatnataha, by effort, should try to live in all these, one of these deshas, the Brahmavartam or Brahma Rishi Desham or the Madhya Desham or the place Aryavartam, and where the place the antelopes are freely roaming, try to move there. We move the other way around. That's another story. But it's saying people should move as far as possible to these places, and these are the places which are considered holy for doing yajnas. One more sloka I'll finish today. Esha dharmasya vo yonihi samasena prakirtita sambhavaschasya sarvasya varnadharman nibodata. Esha dharmasya vo yonihi samasena prakirtita sambhavaschasya sarvasya varnadharman nibodata. He is summarizing. So far, we have described the entire creation. Sambhava means here the creation has been described. Dharma yonihi, the origin of dharma. It says the Vedas, the Smritis, the Sadachara, the Atmana Suchi Devacha. I have also given where we get the rules for dharma. So the creation of the universe has been explained. The sources of dharma have also been explained. Now I will go to explain the individual Varnashrama dharmas. That's where I'm going to put full stop today. So we will next class we'll start with the exact each Varnashrama dharma especially. Mangalam Koshalendraya Mahaniya Gunapte Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Shriya Kantaya Kalyananide Ertinam Sri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam.
Vidaya Hridi Visvesham Vidaya Guruvandanam Balanam Sukha Bodhaya Kriyate Tarka Sangraha. Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Namaste everyone. I think based on the couple of feedback that I had received on the last session, I just wanted to clarify some things before I start. I think we have some of us are new here, including me also. But I think I wanted to make sure that there is a difference. The first difference I wanted to establish here is whatever Dr. Jambunathan talked about was the Dharma Shastra. It's a codification of whatever said in the Shastra and what you do and what you do not do. Although we don't, in the Shastras, we don't say thou shall not do, thou shall do, but I think it has said that do these things so that you get the prayer. And that is how our Shastras always guide us to it. So if you look at the big landscape of Shastras, there are Vedas, which has all the things that we need to for our lives. And there are Vyakaranas and Chanda Shastras, all those things, how to study them. And then there are Dharma Shastras, which is how Kalpa Shastras and all those things tells you how to do all these things. But between all these things, how do you connect them, right? How do you say that this Shastra is saying this way? How do you think the Vedas are saying this, and then why the Dharma Shastra says? One example, to quote Dr. Jambunathan here, he said that the Vidvat Parishad will decide whether you can do it right or not. So how does the Vidvat Parishad come and decide this, right? First thing we know, Veda, if you follow the Veda, that is correct. Yeah, we can follow that. If you follow Smriti, yeah, that is also right. Probably that has examples. Now, the third one is Vidvat Parishad, because that means you are depending on somebody who is living with you, and to him to come and give a conclusion that can I do this or not this, you go and approach him. How does he come to a conclusion, right? He needs to understand the Vedas as a...
Padmanabhan, can you move a little bit behind and just address the mic? The echo is too much.
There seems to be some
Are you
background
speaking
noise.
into the mic?
No, the echo is not from me. I think it is. I turned off mute, and I think some other mic is echoing.
Oh, there.
We are good now. See, I don't get
Yeah,
that
now it's
echo
gone.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Very good. So, how does the Vidvat Parishad conclude that conclusion, right? So, there are inquiry shastras. There are shastras which does the inquiries into all Vedas and Puranas and all those things. And then they give us the idea to that. So, Mimamsa Shastra, Purva Mimamsa Shastra does a pure inquiry into the Veda and tells how one person has to do the yajna. So because the Vedas are so wide and mantras are spread all over the place, we have to make sure that the right mantras are said at the right time, like Udita, Anudita, and all those things he mentioned. Those things, the mantras have to be said in the right time. The Mimamsa Shastra interprets the Vedas and tells, based on this condition, this mantra is coming after this mantra. This yajna should be done before before Amavasya. This should be done after Amavasya, and all those kind of rules are clarified there. It's a very detailed interpretation of the Vedic injunctions of the yajna. Now, if you think beyond that, life also, beyond the yajna, we have the world, the external world that we live in. So, what the world that we live in, we also need to understand, and how we live in this world, how we understand, and at the same time, how we reach the strayers, and how we explain the world to a Shastras. All these things are explained through a methodical way of approaching in our Shastras. That to understand that, you have to follow certain standards of the Nyaya Shastra principles applied to that. So all the acharyas who have interpreted interpreted in our dharmic traditions have used Nyaya Shastra principles, the Tarkic principles to establish this fact. Hope I clarified the difference between what Dharma Shastra is and what Nyaya Shastra is, because my talk is not going to be on like you can do this, you cannot do this. It will be just saying how the world is and how we understand the world and how the Shastras view the world and it's more common sense. Some of the things which I think I'm going to say are, oh yeah, I know all these things, but it is not, I know all these things, but it is like how we put together all these things and how we apply this and how we interpret and how where this application comes to. And that is more important to understand this basis. And then moving on, I think, so the Nyaya Shastra uses, so we start with some principles we did this in the previous class. I'm not going to go over again. But I think the fundamental thing is we start with the slokas of the Nyaya Shastra, how the Nyaya Shastra views the world. The world, basically, according to Tarka Sangraha. Tarka Sangraha is a text which is following the Nyaya Shastra. It is a combination of two different Nyaya Shastra, which is the Nyaya Shastra and the Kanadas Shastras. So basically, both the world is classified as Sapta Padarthas. That all the things in the world are belonging to 7 items, basically. That's all. He classified as 7 different items. They are Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Samavaya, Vishesha, Abhava. So what are those things? So anything in the world you can put into this category. Anything that you deal with in today's world. It is a substance, or it can have a quality, or it is a quality, or it can be an action, or it can be some relationship, or it can be a uniqueness property attached to it, or it can be a it can live on the same plane, or it can be a non-existent. So the last one is called non-existence, which is abhava, which means when you define a product, you can say this product is this, but it is not this. So if it is a pen, it is not a pencil. So why do we see all these things? Because to gain a clear understanding, we also should know what is this object about and what it is not about. So both of them have to be defined very clearly. So that is the first step of defining the 7 classifications of the padarthas, all the properties that we deal with in our regular day-to-day life using our pratyaksha, which is using our common senses. Now, then the shastra went, then the next section of the shastra where we covered was the substance. The first one is a dravya. Dravya is called as a substance. So there are 9 different substances that are defined according to the Tarka Sangraha text. So what are those 9 different substances? The 5 of them are very simple. We all know that Prithvi, Jalam, Akasha, Agni, Vayu. Basically, there are a lot of mantras like Akashad, Vayu, Vayu, Agnihi, Agni, Rapaha, Apajya, Prithvi, Prithvi, or all those mantras are saying. The 5 basic, what do you call it, elements of the universe, they are considered as the 5 dravyas. The Pancha dravyas are those things. The next 4 dravyas are Kala, Dik, Atma, and Manas. So basically, there are time, direction, Atma, and mind. So these are the other 4 things. All these 9 together are called as dravyas, and all these 9 things are what we call as substances in English. The English word should be substances. So we finished the dravya, and we are now going to the substances. So then, to understand the substances, last week we said, how do we how do we define a substance, right? So how do we understand a substance is created and what traits it exists, the substances exist? So then we saw that there are among the substances itself, there are 2 different classifications. One, which is a substance by itself. It stands on its own, and it is only that substance that is there. And some substances are spread across, their domain is spread across other substances. So we call them as Murta Dravyas and Vibhu Dravyas. The Murta Dravyas are individual Dravyas, and the Vibhu Dravyas are encompassed, it has relationship with other Dravyas also. So when you say the Murta Dravyas, what are those 4 Murta Dravyas? They are Prithvi, Jalam, Agni, and Vayuhu. So how do they exist in the finite part? How did that whole creation happen? In the finite part, they exist in a state called Paramanu. It is like a small atom, the type of atom that is being defined there. And those Paramanus then come together, and then they collide together, and multiple Paramanus come, and then a particular object is formed. That is how this creation, that like a stone happens, means there are millions of Paramanus of that stone comes there, and a stone is formed. And that is how the Nyaya Shastra defines as an object is forming, an individual object is formed. Similarly, the Paramanus of Jalam unite together, and the Jalam is formed. The water Paramanus unite together, and the water is formed. Same thing with Agni, and same thing with Vayu. But the other 5 substances have a connection between these 4 substances, so they are not having this Paramanu Tattvam there. They exist as they are. So the Akasha, the eternal Akasha exists as an eternal substance. It is there forever. So that is how the Nyaya Shastra defines the substances, the 9 substances. I think we covered up to this point, and we also went a little bit beyond and started with the first dravya, which is the Prithvi. So the Prithvi is the Prithvi, which is the earth, is the first dravya. So before we get into the first dravya, the Prithvi, we just take the 5 basic elements, and we just understand how these 5 basic elements are related to the 5 indriyas that we normally use it. Because to understand these elements also in the real world, we need these indriyas to understand. So for the Shabda, so there are 5 indriyas that are our ear, nose, mouth, eyes, taste, which is smell and taste, which is coming from the tongue, and the feeling. Those are the 5 indriyas that we normally, the Pancha Indriyas we call them. So these 5 indriyas are related to the 5 elements of the universe. So how are they related? So look at that Shabda. Shabda is related to the Akasha. The eternal space has Shabda there. So they are eternal. The relationship between the Shabda and the Akasha are eternal, and it is always there. So that is how we start with. So the Akasha as a Panchabhuta has only the quality of Shabda. So that is how you understand this way. So now you take the Vayu, which is the next one. So Akashat Vayu. If you take the Vayu has two properties attached to that. One is a Shabda property, another is the Sparsha property. So when you can feel the wind, that's what we say. When the wind comes, it feels on us. So the Sparsha, the touching happens. The sound also is existing in the wind naturally. So those two are existing in the Vayu state, in the Vayu Panchabhuta. And then the third one is the Agni. If you see the Agni has the Shabda, Sparsha, and it also has a form, which is the Rupa. The Rupa property is attached to that. So that's how that gradation happens. So Agni has the three properties associated with it. It has something as a color, it has those things that you can see and see that basically. That's the whole thing. And Jalam is the next one. The Jalam has a property called taste, which is, it has all the three properties that we saw before, plus it has an additional property called taste, Rasa. So that has Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. Those four are present in the Jalam. And then the final element is the Prithvi. In the Prithvi, anything that is what we call as a Parthiva object, that is a Prithvi object or the earthly object that we call them, they have the fifth property called the Gandha, that is the smelling. So that is how the smell is. So the speciality of Prithvi is, it is out of these five elements, Prithvi is the only one which has a special property called smell. So you can smell the object through that. You cannot smell the other four things, right? So the Gandhavati Prithvi is what we call this Earth's unique property. So now when we want to define a Prithvi object or an Earth object in the Nyaya Shastra, we call it with a unique identification number, right? So uniquely identifying a thing. That is the whole purpose of the Nyaya Shastra, identifying every object uniquely. So Earth is Earth or earthly objects. We identify them as a unique object because they have the specific property called Gandha. And the Gandha property also contains, when you have a Gandha property, it is also implied that you also have the Shabda in that, you also have Sparsha in that, you also have Rupa and Rasa. So all these five Indriyas are working on that property. So that is applicable in this property. So Prithvi has all the five elements. So now when you say Earth, how do you define Earth? It says Gandhavati Prithvi. So that is how we can define Earth as an object which has the smell in it. Now, can we say the same thing with Rasavan Jalam? Rasavan Apaha. So when we say, can we say the Jalam is smell based? If it has smell, it is water. Can we say that? No, possibly it is not possible. That is also a problem, right? So we saw a dosha called Ativyapti dosha. So because Earth also has smell. So anything that has smell is not Jalam. Sorry, I'm sorry. Anything that has taste is not Jalam. Because Earth also has taste in it. So there's a Ativyapti dosha that is there. So that is why we will go and define each object in the Nyaya Shastric terms on how we understand them and how we can make it unique and how we can identify that. So we keep on defining objects and objects and objects within it. The Nyaya Shastra itself defines all the objects and how this is a step to understand very clearly and delineate all those things. And this kind of approach is very important because especially if you look at things like what you can do and what you cannot do in life and what the Veda says and what you should not do, everything has to follow a certain logical explanation. So that is why our Shastras are very, very logically explained on every point of view. Sometimes we don't understand what is the logic behind it. I was thinking through when Dr. Jambunathan was talking about the black antelope going, wherever the black antelope is there, the yajna should be happening because the yajnas use a black antelope head as is kept in the yagashala, and basically that skin is used, and based on the skin's direction, the yagashala is created, and there are some rules around it. So that's why that black antelope has to be there. If your white antelope is there, you cannot use the white antelope in the yajna. That's the difference. So all these things are methodically applied with unique properties and unique classification, classify uniquely, identify them, and then come up with a solution. So these are this is what the Nyaya Shastra does does on its own. Okay. Then we saw, we saw the shloka for the Prithvi last time. So we said, Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi, Tadvivida, Nitya Nityacha, Nitya Paramanu Rupa, Anitya Kari Rupa, Punatrividaha, Sharirendra Vishaya Bheda, Shariram Asmadadinam, Indriyam Gandagrahakam Dhanu, Tachanasa Gavati, Vishayo Mutpasanadi. So then the whole definition. So what is Prithvi? We said it has a unique property called smell. And in the Nitya state, in the Nitya means in the eternal state, it is existing as an atom. So that is always there. So beyond, it's beyond, it's there all the time. And then through Ishvara Ichha, these atoms collide together. Some action happens and the atoms collide together and substances are, the physical objects are born. So that is the Anitya. Anitya is the Karya Rupam. Because of the Karya, because of an action, the Anitya Vastu, the whatever we see, a pencil or a pen or a snake or anything, whatever that we see is born. It's all there on Anitya Vastu. They have a beginning and they have an end. Whereas the Nitya Vastu does not have a beginning and does not have an end. It lives eternally. And Tatra Nasagravarti. So the Indriyam that to understand the earth is in the edge of the nose. And the Vishayaha Mrit Pashanadi. All the matters that are includes clay, mud, stones, etc. That is what we saw last time. And we also saw a couple a relationship type called. There were two relation types that we normally use in the Shastra here. One is relationship is like a relationship with me and that object, a relationship between object and another object. So how is that relationship? How do you explain the relationship? You can have an eternal relationship or you can have a contact relationship. So when you have a contact relationship, we call it as a Samyoga Sambandha. And when you have a permanent relationship, we call it as a Samavaya Sambandha. So what are those things? So I have my hand is with me. So that is always eternal with me, even if when I sleep or when I wake up or anything like that, my hand is always with me. So that is a Samavaya Sambandha. My hand to me, the relationship is Samavaya Sambandha. Suppose if I hold a pencil, or if I watch an apple on the ground, the relationship between me and that apple is only existing during that time the transaction happens. Then I can move my eyes away, or I can drop the pen down. Then that relationship goes away. So that during that time, only that option, because there is a beginning point and an end point to that relationship, we call that as a Samyoga Sambandha. That happens only during that time. So that's the relation terms that we saw that. And we also saw one other word called Adhikaranam and Adheya. So the Adhikaranam is basically a locus where that object is there. So that is called as an Adhikaranam. The Adheya is the action that is that which is being supported. So you see an apple in the floor, right? The Adhikaranam for that thing is the floor is the Adhikaranam. And the Adheya is the apple that is there. So usually the Adhikaranam is sometimes, most of the times we see the Adhikaranam is the substance and the Adheya is something that is on the substance. So you can also say the earth is the Adhikaranam, the base where we are discussing about. And the earth has a special quality called Gandha, that is smell. So that becomes the Adheya. So those are the two things. That is how earth is related to the smell. The earth has the Adhikaranam and the smell is the Adheya. So that is being supported. So when we explain that, we say earth is as a support is described with the supported of smellness. So that is how we uniquely define earth. Basically, the Prithvi Nishta Adhikaranata Nirupita Adheyatava Gandha. So that is how that explanation is given to that language of explanation is given about earth. Now beyond that, our goal is to make sure that it has to be clear. It should not be any confusion. Like I said earlier when I said the Jalam has rasam. So can we say wherever there is rasam, is it Jalam? No, it is not there, because even earth also has rasam in it. So that is why we have to make sure that it is this and it is also not this. And then we say how the relationship is also there in that. So we define everything, how the relationship is there, what is this and what is not that. All those things together, we say within eternal relationship, Samavaya Sambandha Avachinna, that is uniquely identified. So with an eternal relationship that is uniquely identified with the smellness, we call it as the earth. That is how we describe the earth. And these are the things that we saw about the Prithvi. Now let's go to the next shloka. Next shloka says, next shloka defines what jalam apaha. Just give me a second. शीतस्पर्शवत् आपः. Sorry, शीतस्पर्शवत्यः आपः का द्विविधाः नित्या अनित्याश्च नित्या परमाणुरूप अनित्या कार्यरूपाः पुनः त्रिविधाः शरीरेन्द्रिय विषयभेदात् शरीरं वरुणलोके इन्द्रियं रसग्राहकं रसनं जिह्वाग्रवर्ति विषयः सरित् समुद्रादि. So now what is apah? So this is the definition given by the author for water. Now what is that? Shita sparshavat apah. So first thing is, it is cold. Jalam is cold first. And it also has the property of touching. So that so you can touch and feel. Both of them are there in that apah, in the jalam. So it is cold. By nature, water is cold. According to the NYAYA Shastra, I mean, for all practical reasons, water by nature is cold. You can say what is hot water. Hot water is only through a kriya it becomes hot water. But by nature, or if it is ice, then through another kriya it becomes ice. But by nature, water is considered as shitavan. It is cold, and it has a sparsha quality built into it. It has two types. We define the water in two different tadvividaha, two different kinds. So the Nitya Rupam and Anitya Rupam. So in the Nitya Rupam, in the eternal state, water exists as its Paramanu Rupam. So it is its original Paramanu, that atomic. Atomic is not the right word, but let us understand, since I'm doing this in English, I just say atomic. It exists in its atomic state. And Nitya Paramanu Rupa, Anitya Karya Rupa. Anitya means the one that all the Paramanus collide together and then they form this water body, water object. So that is how we call it as Anitya Karya Rupa. So at some point of time, this water can dismantle itself and go back to its Paramanu Rupa also. That is also possible. So that is how it is not an eternal relation. Water there, it is not always in eternal state. That's something we need to understand. That water that we see is not in its eternal state. Then punaha trividaha. Then again, it's classified into other ways of explaining that. So there are three more classifications that we can do. So in the earth, we saw the shariram, indriyam, and vishayaha. Here also we see the shariram, indriyam, and vishayaha. So shariram is the varuna loke. So now, it is the only place, or probably, if I can remember, I think, are a very few places in the Shastra where the Puranas are being used. Because most of the time, it's all logically explained. So there is not a mention of, Varuna Loka and Indra Loka and all those things are not mentioned that much. This is the place where the author himself quotes the Puranas and says the water in its, the Sharira, the body state of water is in the Varuna Loka. That's what he says. And the Indriyam is Rasanam. Rasanam means the tasting, the capability of tasting. The tasting happens in the Jihvagravarti. That in the tongue, edge of the tongue is where our taste sense happens. So that is the Indriyam. That is the place where you can feel, you can, what do you say? You can have your contact with water in our body. So that is how we should understand that. In the Rasanam, Jihvagravarti. Vishayaha. So what are the matter that is there? Sarit Samudradihi. All the rivers, oceans, ponds, lakes, etc. They are all the subject matters for the substance called water. So this is the definition that is given for water. In the next shloka, it goes for Tejaha. Tejaha is fire, means fire. So Ushna Sparshavat Tejaha. Tacha Dividam Nityam Anityam Cha Nityam Paramanu Rupam Anityam Karya Rupam Punas Trividham Sharira Indriya Vishaya Bhedat Shariram Aditya Loke Prasiddham Indriyam Rupagrahakam Chakshuhu कृष्णताराग्रवर्ती विषयः चतुर्विधः भौम दिव्य उदर्य आखरज भेदात् भौमं वन्यादिकम् अभिन्धनं दिव्यं विद्युत् इत्यादि भुक्तस्य परिणामहेतुः रौद्र्यम् आकरजं सुवर्णादि. So there are okay, so let's go through this line by line. So ushna sparshavat tejah. Ushna sparshavat, ushna means hot object. When you touch it, it is very hot. So that is the thing. So in the previous version we saw, the previous shloka we saw shita sparshavat. When you touch the water, it is cold. When you touch the fire, obviously it is heat, right? So we don't have to touch it and see, but we know that it is heat, hot. Tatchadvividam nityam anityam cha. That also exists in two forms, nitya state and in the anitya state. In the nitya state, it exists as the fire paramanu, fire atomic state. In the anitya state, it is all the fire atomic objects go join together and what we see as the fire outside. So that is the anityam karya rupam. So based on the karyam, it has the karyas are it's the fire that you see there. Then punaha trividam. So there are more classifications that we say. First, the nityam anityam is always there, and then the other classifications that we can do with the fire are from the shariram perspective. Shariram is aditya loka. Again, Purana is being quoted. Aditya loka is Shiva. Surya loka. In the Surya loka, the fire exists as an object. That is the shariram. That is the sun is a body of fire. So that is the sharira loka. This is the lokam for the Agni. Then Indriyam Chakshuhu. So Indriyam is actually Chakshuhu, that's the eyes. The vision is basically the Indriyam. We understand through the vision. It's not the eye really, it is the vision, the capability to see. Even somebody has an eye, but he cannot see. That means he cannot see that fire. So he has to have a capacity to see the fire. And that also happens through the Krishna Taragravarti, with the black, what's it called, eyeballs. Is able to see that, and that is that to that level the Acharya has given the explanation. This is how the Indriyam is associated with the fire. And the Vishayas are Chaturvidah. So the Vishayas, then he classifies what are the subjects in that. There are 4 different things. There are Bhaumam, Vanyadikam. So the Bhaumam is there is a classification where they say all these fires like that happens in the yajnas or any in the Mahana, in the kitchen and all those things. The fire that you see normally is it's called as a Bhaumagni. Then Abhindanam, Divyam Vidyutadi. So lightning also has fire in it. So that fire is called that's called as a Divya fire, Divya Agni. So that's called as a Divya Agni. And then the digestive fire which is in our body, that is called as a Udarya fire, Udaryam iti bhavati. Then the shining that is happening in the gold, like metals, that shining itself is like a fire, and that is called as the akrajam. That's a suvarnadi. The suvarna has the gold has a shining material or anything else which is giving a shining object into it. That fire is called as that's also classified as a fire. Although the gold by itself is the prithvi, is an element of the earth. The shining that is happening, that is defined by the property of the fire, as a property as a fire property there. So that's a little classification. I just want to clarify. Gold is not a teja. Gold is not a fire object. Gold, the shining part of the gold is considered as a fire object. The next shloka talks about Vayu. Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayuhu. Dvividah Nitya Anityascha Nityaha Paramanu Rupaha Anityam Karya Rupaha Anityaha Karya Rupaha Punaha Trividaha Sharirendriya Vishaya Bheda Shariram Vayuloke Indriyam Parshagrahakam Sarva Shariravarti Vishayo Vrikshadi Kampana Hetuhu Shariranta Sanchari Vayuhu Pranaha Tacha Ekopi Upadi Bheda Prana Pana Panadi Samya Labate. So basically, the Vayu. So how do you define Vayu? First, Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayu. Now you again define that very, very clearly. Now, we saw that Sparshavan. So the Sparsha is there in the Jalam, the Sparsha is there in the Agni, the Sparsha is there in the Vayu. But now, what is the difference between the Sparsha and the Jalam? The Jalam, we say it is a Shita Sparsha. That is cold touching, cold feeling there. In the Agni, we say Ushna Sparsham. So there is hot feeling is there. Now, what is the Sparsham in the Vayu? The Vayu's unique character is it has no, in the Jalam and Agni there is Rupam, whereas in the Vayu there is no Rupam, there is no formation, there is no that you cannot see that. There is no specific that thing that you can see through your eyes. So Rupa Rahita, there is no Rupa Rahita, but the Sparsha is there. You can feel the air. So you say I'm getting a cold breeze, you can feel the air there. So Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayu. Then that is how that particular this shloka is explained. So all these things are making sure that you just don't go and do they have any doshas. This will be avoiding any doshas in explaining any matter to us. So that is why the words are a little bit commingled together so that you understand everything without any doubts there. Sadvividaha nitya nityascha again nitya rupam is paramanu rupam, anitya rupaha is vayu rupaha. So the Karya Rupa, Shamiram, Anitya is Karya Rupa. All these Vayus together, all the Paramanus of the Vayu join together, and then we get the breeze out of it, and you can think that way. Punaha Trividaha, Sarirendriya Vishya Bheda. So there are three more classifications after that. Shariram, Vayu Loke. So Vayu Loka is somewhere outside, that's again an external world. Shariram is in that we see this predominantly this Vayu Loka Shariram is there. Indriyam Sparshagrahakam Tvak Sarva Shariravarti. So this is what is the Indriyam there? The Indriyam is the one in our skin which can feel this air. So where is that? It's all over the body. Sarva Shariravarti. So it is present all over the body. Whenever we get a breeze or whenever we get the air, we feel it all over the body. There is nothing in all the screen, all over the skin, all over the place where we see that. So that is the Indriyam for it. Vishayah Vrikshadi Kampana Hetuhu. So the Vishayah is Vrikshadi Kampana Hetuhu, means what is the subject in that Vayu? It is the one that can make the trees move or it can make the trees tremble. So it is so powerful. So those are the things that is affected by the Vayu. And then the Vayu also is within our body in 5 different forms. Those 5 forms are Prana, Apana, Vyana, Samana, Udana. So those are the 5 different Vayus that are present in our body. So this is the definition for Vayu according to the author here. So I think we'll just give you one more, so that we also see the Upanishad Prano, Vyano, Upana, Udana, Samana. All those things are there. And this the prana inside the body, the prana vayu is in the top portion of the body, and the udana vayu comes in near the chest portion of the body. The vyana vayu comes somewhere in this portion of the body, and the samana vayu in the lower portion of the body, and the apana vayu is the one which is which exhales out of the body. So that's how that classification is given by the author. And let me finish the Akasha, because Akasha is very easy to explain, and I think I will stop with the Pancha Bhutas here, and I think we'll continue from the next class on the other substances that are being defined. So the last one is Akasha. It's very simple to explain. Sabda Gunatmakam Akasha. The only guna, the only quality of among the 5 qualities, Akasha is distinctly classified as the one only has a Shabda Gunam, nothing else. It does not have Sparsha, it does not have Rupa, Rasa, nothing like that. So the Shabda Gunatmakam Akasham, only Shabda Gunam is there. Tatchaikam Vibhuhu Nityancha. That is only one. And it is Vibhuhu. The other 4 we call it as a Muta Dravyas because they all exist in the Paramana Rupam. This one does not exist in the Paramana Rupam because this is eternal. Vibhuhu and Nityancha. So the ether is the material cause of the sound. Akasha is not the sky, it is the ethereal layer is what it's called. And it is all pervading, Vibhuhu and eternal. And the sound, the Shabda, is always existing in the Akasha, in the ether. And the relationship between the sound that is produced on the ethereal layer is always in an eternal relationship. That's in the Samavaya Sambandha. And it is the Vibhu Padartha because it can connect all 4 substances. And it is Nitya because there is no destruction. So with that, I conclude this session. And I think if you want to stop the recording, Shiniji, and we can take questions, or we want to have questions in the recording, it's up to you. So we can leave it over here. Shri Guru Bhyo Namah.
Yeah, I think if you want to finish up with the song, you can, and then ask questions. Then we can stop recording. That may be a good
Okay,
option.
thank you. Let me pull up that slide then. Okay, give me a second.
मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वर के, शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिके शंकराचार्यर के, शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाम्बिके के, काल भैरवर के, काली दुर्गै के, वीर धीर शूर हनुम मारुति चरणतिर्के, मल्लिकार्जुनर के, செல்வ ஜனார்தனர் கே, அம்பா பவானி கம்பத கணபதி சண்டி சாமுண்டி கே, ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண பகவான் கே, ஸ்ரீ चक्रवासिनी के, सीताराम लक्ष्मण सहित मारुति चरणतिर्के, विद्यारण्यर के, विद्याशंकर के, वागीश्वरी के, वज्रदेग गरुड़ आंजनेयर के, श्रीवल्ली देव सेना समेत सुब्रमण्यर के, तुंगभद्रै के, श्रृंगनिवासिनी के, श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே, सच्चिदानंद शिव अभिनव नृसिंह भारती के, श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु सार्वभौमर के, श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विद्यातीर्थर के, श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु भारती तीर्थर के, श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विदुशेखर भारती के, मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौलीश्वर के, शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिके शंकराचार्यर के, शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाम्बिके के, श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே.
Hari Om. Yeah, you can stop recording now.